Number 10. The K-141 Kursk. August 12, 2002, a Russian naval training exercise went wrong when torpedo tubes were accidentally contaminated, which caused a series of large explosions. Of the 118 officers on board, all were lost. Number 9. On March 31, 2009, an unnamed ship carrying about 250 people, with the majority being Nigerian migrants, capsized off the coast of Tripoli. Only 23 of the 250 people were rescued, leaving about 200 to 225 people dead. Number 8. The Ciev-10. On October 19, 2001, 353 people died in a boat called the Ciev-10, which was originally carrying 400 asylum seekers to Australia. The survivors were left for about 3 days with no aid from the Australian government. Number 7. The Salahuddin II. At midnight on May 3, 2002, during a storm, the Salahuddin II ferry sank on the Meghna River south of Dhaka, Bangladesh. This wreck killed more than 450 people. Survivors said the ship was over capacity, which made the ferry easy to sink in the strong winds. Number 6. The Cahaya Bahari. On June 29, 2000, the Cahaya Bahari sank on a 200-mile voyage from the Maluku Islands to Manado. Local maritime officials say the wooden-hulled vessel was overloaded with twice the number of passengers it was licensed to carry. Overcapacity coupled with stormy weather sank the ship and killed 481 people. Number 5. The Senopati Nusantara. On December 30, 2006, the Japanese-built Senopati Nusantara sank in a storm. The Indonesian-owned ferry faced a deadly storm in the Java Sea, which left many dead. It is not clear how many were initially on the ferry, but approximately 400 to 500 people perished. Number 4. The Nazreen 1. On July 8, 2003, the passenger ferry sank in the Meghna River. Of the 750 people on board, 220 were rescued, leaving 530 dead. The triple-decker ferry hit turbulent waters just before midnight. Initial reports suggest the ferry may have been overcrowded, not just with passengers, but with large cargo of rice and vegetables. Bangladeshi shipping minister Akbar Hussain said 200 people had managed to swim ashore. Number 3. The Princess of the Stars. This vessel left Manila on June 20, 2008, en route to Cebu City. Although Typhoon Fengshan had made landfall nearby earlier the same day, the Princess of the Stars was permitted to sail because the vessel was large enough to stay afloat at the edge of the typhoon. However, Typhoon Fengshan unexpectedly changed course, placing the ferry in serious danger of being overwhelmed by the storm. At midday, June 21st, the ferry sent out a distress signal. Radio contact was lost at 12:30 Pacific time. The mayor of San Fernando sent out a speedboat and confirmed that the ferry had a hole in the hull and was partially submerged. It was also reported that several bodies had been found nearby. Out of 862 passengers and crew, 690 died. Number 2. The MS Al Salam Boccaccio 98. This vessel was an Egyptian passenger ferry that sank on February 3, 2006 in the Red Sea, en route from Dubai to southern Egypt. The ship was carrying about 1,400 passengers and crew. No mayday had been heard from the ship, and poor weather conditions hampered the search and rescue operation. 388 people were rescued, and 1,020 died. The cause of the sinking appears to have been seawater in the hull, which was pumped in by firefighters who were trying to extinguish a fire in the engine room. This type of ship, the roll-on, roll-off ferry, can begin sinking from only minor flooding in the hull. When the captain asked permission to return to port, the ship owners ordered him to continue, despite knowing that there had been a fire. The ship's owners were jailed in 2009. And finally, the number 1 shipping disaster of the 2000s, the Joola, a Senegalese government-owned ferry that capsized off the coast of Gambia on September 26, 2002. This disaster resulted in 1,863 deaths with only 64 survivors. It is the worst shipping disaster of the 2000s. The ship was en route to Dakar when it ran into a violent storm. It was sailing farther out to sea than it was licensed to operate. The ship was estimated to be carrying 2,000 passengers, which was at least 3 times as many passengers as the Joola was designed to hold. Only about half of them had tickets. The large numbers sleeping on the deck added to the ship's instability. Rescue operations began several hours after the wreck.